You found the STIHL National Championship Air Races presented by Reno-Tahoe.
STOL drag is, STOL stands for short takeoff and landing, and what we decided to do along with Kevin Quinn was come up with a little more exciting version of that called STOL drag. So what we do is race side by side on a 2,000-foot course, so just under a half mile. We race side by side, try to take off as quick as we can, get to the halfway point, go into a really aggressive slip to try to lose airspeed, get us as slow as possible, land as close to the finish line as we can, come to a stop at the far end. As soon as your airplane has stopped moving, we do a 180-degree turn, race back and do it again. First one to a stop at the other end wins.
Welcome, all of you early birds are here at the right time. As you can see and hear, we've got action on the airport grounds, on the taxiway, on the drag strip. Juan Brown is with me, and neither rain, nor snow, nor sleet, nor smoke, nor the dead of night can stop the STIHL dragsters from performing for the crowd. While we do have visibility issues with racing aircraft on our main courses and visibility and whatnot, for the STOL aircraft is right in front of us. They got the visibility they need. There's no compromise on that, and they are raring to go. They said, come on, we came to have some fun, we came to race, and we're gonna enjoy that this morning. Juan Brown, welcome back. He is the voice of the whole gang here. He is, he'll put you right in the cockpit. He's gonna talk about some of the aircraft and some of the rules and some of the background of all the aircraft and where we came from and where I'll be quiet, Ron. It's all up to you, Juan.
That's right. As long as we got at least a mile of visibility, we can run these STOL drag racers. It's so dusty out on the track anyways that we hardly have any visibility anytime we're racing. So we got 19 aircraft out here today taxiing. We're gonna finish up qualifications this morning, run some grudge matches, have some fun matches as we narrow down who's gonna be the STIHL STOL drag race champion. We'll be talking more about the individual aircraft and pilots once they get to racing. Just a quick layout of the land here and how STOL drag racing works. We've got a 2,000-foot strip here in the dirt between the runway and the taxiway. We got a start-finish line here to your stage left where the flags and golf carts are, where the aircraft are taxiing to. By the way, stand by for the Blue Angels pivot turn down here on the left. Get everybody oriented, going the correct direction. And then we got a turnaround line 2,000 feet down the line where the aircraft will be turning around and drag racing back to. So the whole concept of STOL drag racing is how quick can you get down to this course, and the first aircraft that comes to a complete stop wins the drag race. Two aircraft side by side. So Kevin Quinn, the chief instigator, is going to be launching the aircraft two at a time from the start-finish line. They will go as fast as they can to the turnaround point, 2,000 feet down the line. About the midway point, you're gonna hear them suddenly chop the power, throw the aircraft into a full slip, and slow down as quick as they can and hit the point at the turnaround point. They have to land on or beyond the turnaround point, come to a complete stop. We got judges down there checking them out. Then spin it around as quick as they can and haul potatoes back to the start-finish line, again landing on or beyond the start-finish line, and the first aircraft that comes to a complete stop wins that drag race. And it'll be double eliminations throughout the weekend as we work through to see who's going to be the STIHL STOL Drag Championship racer for 2022 at the Reno National Championship Air Races.
Settings or however you can do it. They got like a director.
So for the STIHL STOL Drag Championship here in the program, turn to page 68 and you'll see all the aircraft and all the race pilots starting on page 68. So we're going to be racing for a pretty good prize this year of $30,000. And then Josh, come on up here and help me announce some of these sponsors for the STOL drag races. It takes a lot of folks to help sponsor this, to put this together.
Absolutely. We have AOPA, which we can't forget, have done so much for the sport of aviation. Cub Crafters, and you'll be seeing a lot of the Cub Crafters planes out on the field here at this time. Airframes Alaska, those guys are famous. Anybody in the STOL world knows who they are. Tempest Aero Group, Flight Outfitters. Oh boy, I don't think I'm wearing a Flight Outfitters right now, but there's often. Oh yeah, you got one right there. They got awesome stuff. Flight Outfitters, a super good proponent of STOL drag. We got Whalen Aerospace. And, oh, it looks like we got a pivot turn here coming right now. So they pulled the two 182s out of the line because of the nose wheel, and here comes the rotation.
Just like the Blue Angel.
Oh, that looks beautiful. Yeah, with the two nose wheels out of the scene, things are able to get a little bit smoother. The Zenith is so light that it can still make that turn, so that's okay there. So back to the sponsors, we got Whalen Aerospace, Clemens Insurance, which I have myself, I know you do too, McFarland, and MT Props. Can't talk enough about them. We also got Sky Cowboy. We use their products, Behringer wheels and brakes.
Okay, we got the two straight tail 182s on the start finish line. Aaron Greer in the #1 lane.
Let's have a good, fun, safe day. Take your time. Give me a signal when you're ready, Andrew. Take your time. Are you ready? Ready. Here we go. Aaron, are you ready? Here we go. On the arm draw. 3, 2, 1.
And Andrew Patry in the #2 lane in the black straight tail 182. Now the thing to watch in the #2 lane with the black 182 is he's got a different propeller. He's got an MT reversible pitch propeller. So let's see if he's able to get it into reverse this morning at the turnaround.
And you'll notice lane 1 pulled throttle a lot sooner, and the reason for that is that lane 1 is going to use the slip to decelerate, and lane 2 is going to try and use the prop. Best of luck to him. I know he's having some trouble with that. They're trying to work through it. And it looks like it didn't work for him as well this time, and it looks like Aaron's pulling ahead on this one.
That's young Aaron Greer in the #1 lane in the #1 position. He's one of our youngest pilots out here. Last year he came out with just 300 hours of total flying time. This year he's doubled that, 600-hour pilot, flying the heck out of that old 182, throwing down the flaps, throwing into a full slip. He's going to be first into the start finish line. Now just a matter of getting it stopped in a big cloud of dirt.
Ross, come right out. We need to make sure that's good timing. Clear to taxi. Great run, boys. Great run. Andrew, follow Aaron. Remember, boys and girls, let's keep it safe. There's no rush. Slow to move fast.
Slower is faster. You'll hear that all day long with Kevin Quinn coaching the pilots out there. Who do we got out there now?
All right, looks like we got Brian Stead and John Hockala. John Hockala is out of Washington, and let's see, we got Brian's out of Texas. This is a financially mismatched set of race right here between the two different airframes, but you might see that they're a lot closer than you think sometimes.
Here we go on the arm drop. 3, 2, 1,
So John Hockala.
That's Brian Steck and the Legend Cub with that large propeller making a lot of noise. And if you get a chance, come on down to the STOL Corral, check out these aircraft, and check out the landing gear in that Zenith Super STOL. Just a crazy suspension on that aircraft. And look how quick he gets it stopped. They both turn around at the same time. Who's going to out-accelerate them?
This is such a good race. Like you said, and Brian, if you come into the pits and look at Brian's plane, make sure you mention the pink weights that were put on there from, I think it was Walmart, to try and offset that heavier nose weight there. So make sure you mention that to him. Now, just because we see one plane in front does not necessarily mean that that's going to be the winner. So we watch all the way to the end because maybe one can outbreak the other.
That's right, we're checking the whole spectrum of the performance envelope of these aircraft. It's not necessarily the fastest airplane like in traditional air racing. These airplanes need to accelerate quickly, decelerate quickly, hit the mark with precision, and come to a full stop very quickly.
Next, it looks like we have Hal Stockman and Tim Schellhorn lining up.
Hal Stockman with the lightest aircraft in the fleet here, weighing in at just over 600 pounds in the Rand S7, the white aircraft in the number 2 lane.
Hal, are you ready? On the arm draw. 3, 2, 1, see ya!
Tim Schellhorn run that pumped up 0320 with electronic fuel injection rather, and electronic ignition. Getting the whole shot.
Never count Hal out because he's so light he can get on those brakes and stop before most other planes. Doesn't mean he always will, but never count him out.
And Hal's been messing around with a reversible pitch propeller. Have you got an update on how that's going for Hal?
He's been having a little trouble with it, as everybody has. The only person that seems to have mostly dialed in would be Austin Clemens, who's not here today. Everybody else is still trying to catch up with him.
Tim Schellhorn in that extremely fast Carbon Cub. I think that's going to be our second fastest aircraft out here this year.
It sure is a beautiful plane. We're no final judges, but it looks like Tim Schellhorn may have taken that one.
Hal's still getting some qualifying times out there. Everybody gets the equal number of qualifying runs. And as long as they don't scratch at either line, a scratch means if you land short of the line, you scratch. That run does not count. If you do not come to a complete stop at the turnaround, is that Colin Kaniva in the number 2 lane?
Colin Kaniva number 2 and Bo Ellis number 1, that is correct.
Colin's running a Carbon Cub and Bo in his custom-built Legend Cub. Colin gets the whole shot in the lighter weight Carbon Cub. But Bo's been doing this a lot of years in his Legend Cub.
They're both just outstanding.
Look at that, they touched down just at the same time.
Colin tours around with the National STOL as well as STOL Drag, so he gets a lot of time in there trying to stop short now.
That's right, besides STOL drag racing, there is traditional STOL and STOL cross, if you will. Several different events. Look at that, side by side, neck and neck. Oh, perfect.
That is good.
Beautiful, good shot right past the steel home pylon.
Now, although it's a Legend Cub, you'll see it has a Cessna straight tail. Legend Cub is really a custom tail on that one. That's why the plane looks a little funny for those who don't recognize what my plane is.
Yeah, what a race. Clear to taxi. Bo! Gas lane 1. That one goes to Mr. Kaniva. Clear to taxi.
That was so close, they might have to go to the video replay. They've got the judges down there with video cameras showing around the campfire who won that race.
Meanwhile, I'd like to see it again.
Oh, yeah, they will. That's a good match. Looks like Joe Dory in the number 2 lane in a Piper Pacer 150 horsepower engine, 0320. And who's that? Bruce Graham in the number 1 lane?
It is Bruce Graham, that's correct.
A rookie here at Reno this year.
Not a rookie to flying. Boy, he's
No.
tens of thousands of dollars.
Very interesting character. If you get around to chatting with Bruce down at the STOL Corral, and he'll tell you about summiting Everest back in 2019 and some of his other adventures.
Bruce flew here in that plane all the way from Colorado, and Joe came from Idaho.
Boom, just together perfectly. Kevin's really matching them up well, really getting the matched pairs for some neck and neck side-by-side racing.
They are really close. Looks like Joe got him on a turnaround, so we'll see how the acceleration goes and see if Bruce can put that cup to work.
Joe's been scratching on some of his earlier qualification runs. Hopefully he'll get a good time this time.
And here at the halfway point, see who slips first. Looks like they're fairly close.
Yeah. Full flaps, and then as they come into the start finish, watch the flaps get retracted. Boom, spank it on the line, on or beyond the line. Get the weight off the wings and on the wheels. Stick full back, come to a full stop.
Joe, I think you got him. Colin, or Bruce, leave the taxi. Joe, follow Bruce, clear the taxi.
Who's up next?
All right, we got Kathy Page in her brand new Carbon Cub that she just finished building, just flew the time off and got the hours she needed in that thing. She used to fly the Honey Badger, the Clipper, right?
That's correct, Piper Clipper with no flaps.
Clipper, and that was awesome. Next to this guy in the yellow, we're still trying to figure out who he is. Number 44, Steve Henry, I guess it is.
You'll know as soon as he winds this thing up to 10,000 RPM. Incredible performance from race 44. By far the fastest airplane out here in the...
It's looking pretty close. Don't count Pathy out yet.
Pop, pop, and cutting that Yamaha Apex 300 horsepower snowmobile engine, turning 10,000 RPM through a Skytrax gear reduction box that brings that prop down to a reasonable speed. He's already turned around and heading back for home.
Well, that was a great speech on that one. I guess I don't need to say anything about that. He did switch to the little wheels yesterday and picked up a few seconds because the little wheels, once the ground smoothed out, he's out of
That's right, little less effective braking with the big tires. We put a lot of water down there on the course. It's still pretty dry and dusty. Flaps up, coming to a full stop. You got to go down to the STOL Corral and check out these airplanes and talk to Steve about all the incredible innovations he's got in that aircraft to make it a custom STOL drag racer.
Please do, and I'll be happy to talk with you. You guys are there at the thing. I'm the crew chief for number 44, Steve Henry, Yamaha there, and I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have there. So next, it looks like we got two Highlanders lined up. We've got Mr. Eddie Sanchez from Texas, and Curly, also flying a Highlander. Now they are flying different engines, so Curly's flying more of a stock engine, whereas an Edge Performance engine is in Eddie's Highlander.
So what does Edge Performance get you out of a Rotax? Higher compression?
Well, this one also has so you'll see them pull off the line. Even though they're the same plane, they definitely don't fly the same.
You'll hear the difference. Listen to that.
There is higher compression. There's modifications of the crank, a few other things, forged parts as well. I think Eddie's number two qualifier, wasn't it?
Really?
I think Tim Schohorn's still dialing his stuff in, so yeah, so we'll see where that falls at the
Well,
end.
that'll be a good race. Let's get them two together and see how they perform together.
That will be exciting.
Eddie Sanchez with a good lead in the number 2 lane in the Black Devil Girl, Just Aircraft Highlander. Throwing it into the full slip. Here come the flaps. He's actually paying attention to his flap limit speed. Most guys just throw them out there regardless of the speed.
Now, Curly's got this giant Behringer suspension. He can just drop it in at a lot faster speed, but I don't know if he's going to try that or not.
Yeah, a lot of these aircraft have custom suspensions. Especially check out this Just Aircraft Super STOL. has the very long shocks. They're not Fox shocks, but they are similar to a very long stroke suspension that allows you to spank these aircraft down on the ground and not rebound, not bounce back up into the air halfway to the moon.
It's really awesome until you get into a crosswind, but yes, they are great for landing. So here you have the brother, Sanchez.
One of them flies for United, the other one for Southwest. So crew schedule, and if you're looking for your pilots, they're out here goofing off at Reno this year.
Yeah, you got Tony and Harry out there. Tony and Sanchez in lane 2, and Harry lane 1.
Harry Beaupre in the Spirit of Lewis. Yellow Kit Fox.
And the other one is a Super STOL. It's like a Highlander, but has a different wing and suspension. It's got that long travel suspension as well. Now he's lane 2's having a little bit of trouble. His sister-in-law ordered his flight suit one size too small to remind him that he's the bigger brother.
All right, guys, we're alive at the STOL competition. Action's everywhere.
Harry Beaupre getting it in the turnaround.
That was a fast turnaround by Harry Dupree. And Tony's getting going now too. Now you notice the Just Aircraft Super STOL flies at a higher angle of attack, kind of drags through the air. So for this sport, it's probably not the best option of wing for this particular sport. It does a lot better in the traditional STOL.
Yeah, you got to be able to accelerate quickly. Harry's touchdown.
I am impressed with Harry's speeds on this. This is pretty good. I seen him at May Day this year, and he was doing great in practice. And he's really showing what he's got. He's really come a long way from when he first started.
Looks like hometown favorite Kevin Palmer in the Red Rocket Kit Fox. Is he heading to the number 2 lane, I believe? Ty Firkin in the white Kit Fox. Feels Sunday, so hopefully he'll stick around for the whole weekend.
Ty's got some pretty amazing skills in this, flying in NVGs at night, spraying fields, under wires. Pretty incredible.
And these are very young pilots, too.
Looks like Kevin might have got the jump on him right initially, but it looks like Ty's picking that back up.
Both of these, I assume, are Rotax 912 powered Kit Fox aircraft, about 100 horsepower. Now, our Hal Stockman in the White Rans S7 is a Rotax expert. He does a lot of work on a lot of these engines, and Ty is running what we call a Stockmanized Rotax 912. Little increased performance thanks to Hal Stockman. Good race. Looks like Ty in the lead. Morning, Earl.
That's an aggressive slip right there from Ty Firkin.
And of course, the Kit Fox run flaperons instead of flaps and ailerons.
And I noticed a lot of those Kit Foxes, sometimes the tail doesn't come up as quick as the other planes, and I understand that those flaperons can mess with that.
Ah. Is that Brent Womack in the Rans S20, a later model Rans aircraft in the number 2 lane? Who we got number 1?
This is Aaron Greer in his 182. He's out of Washington. He's been out the last 2 days with a broken part on the nose gear, as the original track was really rough and it tore his nose gear apart. So they actually got some parts in and got it fixed, and he's back here for this is his qualifying kind of.
Chris, are you ready? Up and drop. 3, 2, 1, deal.
Really neat to see such a mismatch of aircraft, the 182 being way heavier, and still holding its own here with the Rans.
And that's the neat thing about a 2,000-foot course, is it really tends to equalize all these different types of aircraft. Now watch for that wake turbulence off that 182 there, and a good bounce in the number 2 lane.
Yeah, Womack got ballooned there at that end, which is really going to cost him quite a bit of time. Aaron's a little slow on the turnaround.
He's got to get that big nose wheel 182 spun around.
Looks like Brent definitely gained some time on him.
Chopping it and dropping it. There go the flaps.
Seems to be Brent's technique is ballooning it. Everybody's got their own little technique about when to pull flaps, when to pull power, where to set down after the line, and how fast to do that. And that's really interesting to see.
And Aaron just came sailing into the start-finish line, blowing right past the Rands.
He didn't get to fly the last 2 days. He really wanted to get some extra time in.
Andrew Patry in the number 2 lane in the black and yellow 182. This 182 was found right over here in Carlin, Nevada, sitting around for 4 years. And again, Hal Stockman to the rescue, grabbed a battery and got her running and took it home. And now she's out here racing today.
Since that time, has had a lot of upgrades. Titanium landing gear, you know, the reversible MT props, an exhaust system.
Sportsman STOL kit, VGs.
New lighting system, everything but paint.
Who's in number 1 lane?
John Hockala in the Zenith.
Zenith Super STOL.
2, 1,
That's Kevin Quinn, the chief instigator out there with the arm drop at the start and finish line. You see him out there in front of that checkered flag with the arm drop.
Now either John was asleep or they're expecting John to catch him. What do you think that was all about? Andrew's definitely got him on that turnaround, but John is catching up. He's not far behind. A real question here will be, will he be able to get the reversible prop going? Can he get it in beta and use that? And the way to tell is when you see a puff of dust go in front of the plane instead of just behind it.
And the trick with that reversible prop is you need good oil pressure, and the 0470 at idle RPM does not have enough oil pressure to really actuate that prop quickly and accurately. John Hockala bouncing it in. So the catch with a reversible prop is it only works at idle RPM.
Sometimes you can carry a little bit of extra speed, expecting it to engage, then it doesn't, and now you're in a worse situation than you would have been if you hadn't tried to use it. So it's a gamble.
Because if you get yourself a little bit short, you got to add power. Now you're not at idle RPM, and you can't use it in that case either. So it's a tricky operation.
That's right. Now we got Brian Steck and Hal Stockman up on the line. Hal is in the Rands what do you call it? S7. Yeah, it's got so many modifications on it. I can't tell what it is half the time. Lane 1 in Brian Steck in the Legend Cub. Lane 2. And for clarification for everyone, lane 2 is the one furthest away from the grandstands.
The big Legend Cub versus the very lightweight S7. Hal's already up in the air and paddling and pedaling as fast as he can.
When Brian Steck got this plane, the pretty blue one there, he immediately put slats on it. He flew it for a very short time without slats and has never taken them off. He flies it all the time with him. Well, when he got here, he thought he could pick up a little bit of speed by taking the slats off, and he was in for a surprise that the plane that he thought he knew how to fly was very different when he took the slats off. So he had to not only get the skill down for the STOL drag, but he had to relearn how to fly the plane with the slats off because it had been so long since he had done it.
And a lot of these guys bounce back and forth between STOL drag racing and traditional STOL, and so you got to reconfigure the aircraft. Neck and neck, side by side. Brian throwing it a big slip. Hal just sailing in like a leaf.
Now, if you look at how he's not using flaps and he's coming in faster, he's going to rely on the reversible prop, and it's a gamble.
He got it. I think he got it.
Outstanding. Good job, Hal. Tim Shellhorn and Bo Ellis are taking the field. Tim Shellhorn lane 2, Bo Ellis line win.
Bo comes from Bodad, California, a dirt strip right over here by Frenchman Lake. He survived the Dixie fire, and they used his airstrip to stage a lot of firefighting aircraft, and they saved his house and hangar and aircraft in that 1 million acre fire from last year.
We are seeing the remnants of that right now in the distance.
Yeah, that's the mosquito fire, which is at 63,000 acres, and it's beginning to simmer down. Looks like Tim gets the whole shot.
Tim actually could do what he wants it to do, so we're excited to see what these times are.
Tim gets to stop first and turned around first.
If you do come to the pits, you'll see some giant weights that Bo's got to sling around when he makes that turn. They have a unique appearance, so come on by and take a look. Deep slip by Tim, and Bo as well.
Full control authority in those side slips, chopping it and dropping it.
Tim chose the 26-inch tires, which is if you had to choose a tire, one tire for the whole event, that is the perfect tire. Because based on the changing conditions, that tire works. Whereas you'll see Steve Henry, he's switched back and forth from 31s to these tiny little, I don't even know what, little donut things. But based on the track conditions, you'd have to change. But if you had to choose just one, 26 would be the right one. And I think Tim made the right call on that.
And that's a good all-around choice in the backcountry as well. The giant tires you really only need for riverbed type operations. Who do we got out here now?
It looks like Colin Kneben, and that must be Bruce Graham over there.
Colin Kneben, the number 1 lane. Bruce Graham, number 2 lane, both running a pair of carbon cubs. Carbon Cup being one of our proud sponsors of STOL Drag Races. Go up there in Yakima, Washington, buy a STOL Drag ready aircraft right out of the factory.
So Colin Knieben's pulled away there in lane 1 in his Scooters Coffee Cub Crafters aircraft. He's the star of the Carbon TV show Old Green Plains. If you get a chance to check that out, he'd love you to come over and check that out. Not to be outdone by accomplishments, next door to him, Bruce Graham has climbed Mount Everest, and also the only person in history to be a double donor, both a kidney and part of his liver, and he's out there still killing it.
Very interesting individuals in this very competitive, still STOL drag race. Colin with a wide lead. What makes Colin's aircraft so fast? Has he got the bigger engine?
You know, some days it's fast and some days it's not. And I'm trying to decide if it's the airplane or how the night went before.
Scooters Coffee helps sponsor Colin. Ooh, got a scratch on Colin, it sounds like.
What a bummer. He had a great run there, too.
Double scratch at the turnaround.
Already.
So we got 4 judges down there checking for that complete stop and landing on or beyond the line.
Joe Dory now looks like he's taking the line, paired up with Steve Henry, both from Idaho, Caldwell, and Nampa. Those 2 airports are next door to each other. They're all friends and family in that area.
Right there in the Treasure Valley. Very busy cockpit in race 44. I'll explain a little bit here in a sec. So Steve chops the throttle, throws it in a full slip, pops the flaps, looking for his mark. He's got a hair trigger on his flaps right there. He retracts the flaps with a hair trigger. Now he's got to add a little bit of nitrous, not to the engine, but to the intercooler to spool up his turbo, get the aircraft turned around, and come back as quick as possible. Because that turbo has a what do you got, a 6 or 8 second delay?
From idle, it's about 6, yes, between 6 and 8 seconds. At this altitude, it's been about 8 seconds.
So he needs to make up for that turbo lag by adding a little shot of nitrous to the intercooler. Just an amazing bit of experimental aviation. You guys have done a great job setting that all up. Joe Dory coming on in the highly modified Pacer. Great, what I would call budget bush plane. The Pacer with the extended wings and the PA-18 tail and the big tires.
Yeah, with all the custom work in it, maybe the parts didn't cost anything, but the labor to make that thing work must have cost a fortune. So
a lot of time and love. Looks like Kathy Page in the number 2 lane, and they are in their new Carbon Cub FX2. And
Eddie Sanchez over there?
I think that's Eddie Sanchez in the Devil Girl, the black just aircraft Highlander in the number 1 lane.
Could be Curly. I can't see from this angle here. I think that might be Curly.
3, 2, 1, see ya.
Right you are. Grasshopper.
So Curly's plane's got some Behringer gear in it. It gives it a lot more suspension. You get that side load in it a little bit more. You might see it rock on landings if the ground is uneven.
What sort of suspension? Is it Behringer suspension as well on that?
It's a Behringer add-on, yes.
No, I need one though.
Ooh, Kathy. Turn it around quick, getting it stopped very short.
She sure did, but Curly seems like he got the turnaround pretty close to her, so this will be exciting.
Kathy in the lead with the Carbon Cub. She's got a lot of experience running that Clipper on this track with no flaps. So for her, running this aircraft is as good as cheating. Flaps up, she's down. And has the full stop.
The best run I've seen you make, Kathy. Great. Turn to taxi.
Here comes Eddie Sanchez now in the black just aircraft Highlander Devil Girl, number 2 lane.
And number 1 lane, I believe, is Harry Dupree in the Kit Fox. He's doing so well. This is a race I'd really like to see. These guys seem to be closely matched.
The Spirit of Lewis.
He's here from Fallon, Nevada.
That's right, he just relocated. He might be flying dusters out of Fallon here soon. Sanchez brothers all coming out all the way from Montgomery, Texas.
The little Sanchez brother. Looks like he's pulling away from Harry.
Got that bigger engine. All about making good pilots better. Practice making every landing a precision landing, hitting your spot. Being able to side slip while maintaining perfect directional control, perfect heading down the track.
You'll often see a pilot who is behind on the turnaround, see the guy in front of him, and since the guy's in front of him, he'll hold his throttle in long, forgetting that's going to take you way beyond the line. Second to land often goes further down the line than the first guy to land. Or
the Super STOL just aircraft.
Ty Perkin in lane 1.
From Nampa, Idaho. Kit Fox out of the whole shot. First.
You know, I've seen Ty fly over my house many times because I'm right in the middle of the flight path in Idaho, and these guys, to go to the backcountry on the Oahes, go right over my house. So I've seen him all the time, but I never met him, so I just met him for the first time officially just the other day.
Oh, good.
What a nice guy.
Good, they're going to turn around neck and neck. Now, let's see, will that Kid Fox be able to beat him out of the hole shot again?
Yeah, Ty's turnaround was a little quicker. They both started at the same time, but his tail got around faster.
Good turns.
Ty holds those wings so level. That must be something he's perfected in crop dusting.
Stick and rudder. Kevin Palmer, the hometown favorite from right here at Stead, Reno-Stead, in the Red Rocket. Kid Fox in the number 2 lane. Brent Womack in the Rans S20, number 1 lane. Brent came all the way out from Denton, Texas to join us this weekend.
There's a lot of pilots from Texas here.
Texas and Idaho.
Everybody will proceed after that as planned.
So that should mean we've got all the qualifying times equal number of runs for everybody.
And they're off.
So they'll be able to grab their best qualifying time out of all those different runs. This is a good pairing.
It sure is. Now the technique of them landing is different. So right when they pull, Womack will go up.
Let's see if is he going to pop it?
No, he changed it.
There it goes up a little bit.
Kevin's floating a little bit.
A little more bouncing on the Rans. Has he got that aluminum spring gear on that?
I believe he does, and it sure is springy.
That's the advantage of having a full suspension versus a stock landing gear setup.
And there's a perfect example of it when you see Kevin come out so much further ahead when they landed at nearly the same time.
Lane 1, scratch on the line. Floating her on down to the start-finish line. Looks like Kevin Palmer gets her stop first, winning the drag.
Here's the race we like to see. 2 182s.
Big old straight tail 182s.
So these guys both fly into Washington. They're based right in the same area.
Ellisburg, Washington.
These guys are great friends. They tour all over the country doing the national STOL and STOL drag. These guys love doing this. And although they both have a lot of other airplanes, or at least some other airplanes, they both keep flying the 182 because these distances they gotta fly are so far. They're like, my other planes would be much more suitable, but I don't want to fly it there.
A long haul and a slow airplane. And of course the 182 with the tricycle gear still makes a great backcountry aircraft as well.
Yeah, well, these planes are a lot faster than some of their other planes, their backcountry planes. So these guys are fairly evenly matched.
They're both running the 0470 Continental 6-cylinder engines. Number 1 lane pulling a slight lead. Aaron's been running a little higher angle of attack.
So Aaron pulled earlier, trying to slow down because he does not have that prop, that reversible prop. And there's the advantage of it.
I think he got it. I think he got that reversible pitch prop to work.
He must have.
Big cloud of dirt. Big lead coming out of the turnaround for the number 1 lane.
And that could all change on this landing. If he's not able to get that reversible prop back in gear, Aaron could take it, so it's not over yet.
Yeah, look at the number 2 lane sneaking up it.
Looks like he got it in. Yes, he did.
Good job, number 1 lane.
Good guys. Gorgeous.
Andrew Patcher's gonna take that.
Andrew, you got it by a hair. Clear to taxi. Aaron, follow Andrew.
Just by a hair, that's how close these races are.
And Hal Stockman lane 2 and Brian Steck lane 1.
Ramses 7 versus Legend Cub. Moac, mother of all Cubs.
Now, if you're in the stands, you can look at the leading edge of.
Ooh, Legend Cub getting good at that turnaround. He got it snapped right around quick.
This will be really neat to see at the other end because Hal's a real contender, whatever sport he's in, be it STOL or STOL drag. He's always in that top 5.
Great to see the progression and the continuous improvement with Brent in the Legend Cub. If he didn't scratch, this is going to be a great run for Brent.
Brian Steck is flying that Legend
Brian,
Cub.
correct.
All the way from Texas.
I'd have to go to video replay on that, boys. Great 3. Wow, clear to taxi.
Too close to call, gotta go to video.
I love that.
They'll be arguing about it all night.
All right, Bo Ellis, lane 2. Tim Shellhorn, lane 1.
Bo running the Titan 370 engine in his Legend Cub. You'll notice all these aircraft are pretty well lit up with various strobe lights. It's good to be seen in low visibility conditions like today and out in the backcountry when seeing and be seen is really the only way to avoid each other.
And Tim is just smoking offline this time.
Got her running good and got the ground adjustable prop just about dialed into the way he likes it.
So Bo is running that as well, huh?
I believe so.
So Tim pulled real early, and so which means he's going much faster than Bo. So I'm expecting his turnaround to be a lot quicker.
Look at that, he's already spun it around.
I don't understand the right turn he makes.
Yeah, usually you think go to the left for the torque, but sometimes some guys like to whip it around to the right, and there's no rule preventing you from turning left or right at the turnaround.
I was asking his wife Julie if maybe he was left-handed, and she said no. But since I am part of the crew for Steve Henry, I can assume everything that I know is wrong.
Looks like Tim's got Bo by a good lead. Looks like Colin Kaniva taxiing out, your favorite pole dancer. Looks like Colin got touched.
To sleep.
Okay.
no wobbles up or down. Eddie getting stopped first at the turnaround.
He sure got that.
Look at that turnaround. Go, Eddie!
Eddie's the only guy.
Finding him.
Brother's name tag has got his picture, so he's just dominating everything over his brother, and his flight suit fits.
That's page 69 in your STIHL Reno Air Race booklet for the STOL drag pilots and aircraft, page 69. Brent Womack in the #1 lane with Rans S20 from Denton, Texas, and Happy Dog. Tony Sanchez, Eddie's other brother, in the #2 lane, the Just Aircraft Super STOL.
Then Kevin Palmer and everybody clear down course judges.
Now, what engine did you say is in Womack's Rans S21?
Well, let's see, I think it's another, Rotax 912. He calls it the STOL Creek Big Bore Kit.
Oh, okay, and that's something that Tony doesn't has as of yet, is the big bore kit.
For you, Kevin. Then we're going to run a grudge match and we'll have a little meeting here in a minute.
Okay, Kevin's going to run a qualifying run here, and then it sounds like a grudge match. Don't scratch, Kevin. Just get it on the clock.
So all he's got to do is pull a time without a scratch. Is that right?
That's it.
No pressure.
We want everybody to put in their best performance for the qualifying run.
All right,
to
Kevin.
determine their standing.
Don't scratch on the 8-ball.
Pass the line. Full stop. Tail down. The tail's got to be down. On heading.
They allow a 10-degree off heading right there. Is that right?
Yep. Judge's call, but we just want to see that you're well under control on the full stop.
Absolutely.
Good turn.
Kevin Palmer, the brother of Trent Palmer, also very well known in the aviation world for really helping explode the backcountry sport with some incredible footage and cinematography that he does, showing people what it's really like out there flying. Also local to this airport.
That's a big reason why we're here today, is these guys' social media presence has done so much for aviation in general and re-inspiring a whole new generation of pilots that are so desperately needed to get into aviation today.
So Aaron Greer on lane 2, lane 1, John Hakala. You couldn't have two more mismatched planes.
I think this is our grudge match, so that's where the name comes from.
Two nose wheel, tricycle gear.
Keep them out of the dirt, boys.
Sometimes called nose draggers. Looks like John's able to out-accelerate him.
Now get that 182 accelerating and ground effect. Get that tail up.
So you see the 182 having a pull power earlier, being heavier to slow down. Now I will be surprised if he can outbrake John Huckle.
Bouncing it into the start finish.
And there's the advantage to the light plane being able to get stopped sooner.
Big Tuna getting turned around first in the #1 lane. John Huckle in the Zenith, coming in from McMinnville, Oregon. Home of the Spruce Goose. With a good lead on the 182, Aaron Greer.
Arian's carrying a lot extra speed on that landing.
Yeah, he comes sliding in pretty quick right behind him, but look how long it's taken him to get stopped.
It looks like John took it.
Big Tuna, John Huckle is buying the drinks this evening on that grudge match.